Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Arnold Schwarzenegger just announced that he was returning as his Conan the Barbarian from his original movies in a new movie called King Conan, directed by Christopher McQuarrie from the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies, Mission Impossible Conan. You also might remember Henry Cavill said that he and Christopher McQuarrie tried to make a Man of Steel 2 movie right after Justice League came out between all the Mission Impossible movies. He also tried for years to get a Green Lantern Movie Reboot pitch at Warner Bros. Under the old regime during the DCEU, but at the time they said no to that. We're literally getting ready for the brand new Lantern series in James Gunn's DCU. Currently, the new King Conan movie is just being called King Conan. I don't know if that title is going to stick or if they're going to change it eventually, but it would basically be the lost third film in the original threequel Conan trilogy that Arnold Schwarzenegger tried to make back in the 80s. So we'll break it all down and explain what happened to his original Conan trilogy and why it got canceled back in the day, if that was basically on his rise in Hollywood when he became one of the biggest action stars on the planet. Him now coming back as his original version of Conan is a lot like Ian McKellen coming back as his Magneto and Patrick Stewart coming back as his Professor X in Avengers Doomsday in Secret Wars. We have now come full Deadpool and Wolverine meme. They are literally doing this until they're 90. Arnold Schwarzenegger will be about 80 years old when this new Conan movie comes out. There's a lot to unpack. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. It really does feel like we are in the era of them dusting off a lot of old franchises that just have languished for a long time, like we're getting ready for a new Masters of the Universe live-action movie. Henry Cavill is also doing a new Highlander movie. I just did a video for that, and Henry Cavill also doing a brand new live-action Voltron movie too. We literally just saw Jason Momoa's new version of Lobo in the Supergirl trailer. He's coming back from the DCEU as his Aquaman, now new character. But you'll also remember, long before he was Aquaman, he actually was Conan during the 2011 attempted reboot of the franchise.
The sword we make will be yours one day.
The reason why we know about this Arnold Schwarzenegger King Conan movie is because Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of leaked the information himself on purpose, probably for hype. The studio probably not mad at him, because how are you going to get mad at Arnold Schwarzenegger? And any hype in Hollywood is good hype, so studios love this kind of thing. Recently, he was at a bodybuilding convention and started talking about this, so this is what he actually said. With King Conan, it's a great old story that Conan was 40 years as king, and now he gets forced out of the kingdom, and there's conflict, of course, but somehow he comes back, and there's all kinds of madness, violence, magic, and creatures, and stuff like that. Based on the way he's talking about it, it sounds like the script is pretty much done if he knows that much of the story, but it's basically an old man King Conan story later in his life explaining why Arnold Schwarzenegger, getting ready to be about 80 years old by the time this movie comes out, can appear in the movie as his same Conan from the original movies. They have not said who this new main villain is going to be who forces him out of his kingdom, but can you imagine Christopher McQuarrie going into Universal's offices with just like a picture of Henry Cavill fighting old man King Conan and then just throwing bags of money at him? We also don't know which other heroes he teams up with to help him reclaim his crown, but it sounds like they're trying to reboot the original Conan franchise again, stepping over Jason Momoa's Conan reboot back in 2011 and just pretending like that doesn't exist. But it really is turning into a Deadpool and Wolverine kind of meme, like he would be doing Conan until he's 90 theoretically if these new sequels wind up working out longer term, because it does sound like they're trying to reboot the Conan franchise just in general, not just his original Conan franchise, but all the Conan movies in general, so they can make more sequels going forward. You can let me know in the comments if you want to see Arnold continue coming back in more sequels as his old man King Conan until he actually passes away for real. Hopefully he lives for a very long time until he's well beyond 90. Or would you rather his old man King Conan sacrifice himself at the end of this first new movie and they do the thing where one of Conan's sons or grandsons or successors, his heirs, takes the name Conan and then follows him on the throne as the new main version of Conan in more sequels beyond this King Conan movie? Marvel is literally in the middle of doing something like this with Black Panther 3 in the Black Panther franchise Avengers Doomsday Secret Wars. They lose their main T'Challa Black Panther because Chadwick Boseman passes away in real life, may he rest in power. Then they introduce a son who also has the same name and eventually grows into the role, becoming both a new version of the character but also kind of the old version of the character at the same time, so the studio can keep doing Conan movies in the case of the Conan franchise, and their main hero in the movies is still called Conan.
My name is
Prince Conan.
son of
King Conan. If you've been following Arnold Schwarzenegger long enough, you might remember that lost third Conan movie in his original threequel. Back in the late 80s, Schwarzenegger intended to make a threequel, Conan the Conqueror trilogy, but it never came to pass. Universal released the first two films, with Lionsgate attempting to reboot the franchise in 2011 with Jason Momoa. That movie was viewed as a failure, only earned about $63 million worldwide, and wasn't received that well either. Schwarzenegger's original third film in the Conan trilogy was going to be released in 1987, and it was called Conan the Conqueror, but at the time, he was also committed to the first Predator movie, which was released in 1987. Very apropos, because while Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about this new Conan the Barbarian movie, he also said that he was working out a deal with Dan Tratchenberg to return to the modern Predator movies. That's why they had that post-credit scene in Predator Killer of Killers, and also why they had to wait to add it till after they had released the movie on Disney Plus and Hulu for a little while. They had not worked out their contracts for the cameos, so if you go watch the movie on Disney Plus now, you'll see the post-credit scene that they attached later with his Dutch character from the original Predator movies and Danny Glover's movie from Predator 2. That is meant to be a whole separate thing from this new King Conan movie that they're working on right now. Two completely different studios, different directors, different creatives working on those projects. Also at the time they were trying to make that third Conan movie back in the late 1980s, the De Laurentises had a contract with Arnold Schwarzenegger that expired after he made the Red Sonja movie, reappearing as his character. Technically, he was supposed to be Conan in that movie, but they had to rewrite it to him being a character called Calidor because of rights issues with the Conan IP. Marvel Comics also had problems with this too, where they tried to use the Conan character, but they had to license him because it was part of a completely separate IP that they lost. So that's why you don't see a lot of Conan running around inside Marvel Comics, or in the Marvel movies for that matter, in the MCU. But in the late 1980s, they started to have the contract and scheduling issues with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so that third film fell into development hell, then got turned into the new Kevin Sorbo Cole the Conqueror movie, which also failed. That didn't help either. Then enough time went by that by 2011 they tried to do the Jason Momoa reboot, which also failed, and in 2012, like right as that was all happening, they talked about bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger back for a new Legend of Conan movie, which would have been them trying to do the threequel movie payoff.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
That Legend of Conan movie was going to be a direct sequel to the first Conan movie, pretending like the second Conan the Destroyer movie and the 2011 Jason Momoa Conan movie did not exist. Then that movie also fell into development hell, and by 2017, Universal dropped the project, saying that they were going to try and do it as a live-action Conan TV series, but that was before the chaos of the streaming wars and the pandemic that happened over the next several years. There were a couple different things that basically killed the Conan franchise back in the day, because normally you'd think that Arnold Schwarzenegger in his rise in Hollywood would be able to get literally anything made, but at the time, the producers didn't think that they were able to pay him the money that his quote had risen to by the time he became a big star, because the Conan movies that they had done previously had not earned enough money yet, and also they felt like they wanted to make them PG because they thought they could earn more money with PG movies than the original R-rated Conan movie earned. But at the time they released Conan the Destroyer, the second Conan movie, the PG-13 rating did not exist yet. It wasn't created until Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom for Steven Spielberg. Literally, the ratings board, the MPAA, created the PG-13 rating just for Steven Spielberg so he could go a little more hardcore in Temple of Doom. As you would expect, a PG Conan movie just does not appeal the way you would want it to older audiences, the target audience basically. Their reboot with Jason Momoa failed pretty hard, and then they felt like at a certain point Arnold Schwarzenegger no longer was the box office draw that he used to be, so they basically just backed away completely. But it sounds like what happened is that Christopher McQuarrie's stock rose high enough within the studio with all the Mission Impossible movies that he's able to blow them away with a new idea for King Conan, and they just said yes. My assumption is that they'll also load the movie with more younger stars, like a bunch of big names, and a really, really good villain. Like I made the Henry Cavill joke, how do you get the studio excited to make an old man King Conan movie? You just introduce a really, really compelling villain. Anytime there's mention of some giant Giga Chad character swinging a sword around, Henry Cavill's name comes up, like they're doing an Aegon's Conquest, Game of Thrones movie, or trilogy of movies. People want to see him as Aegon the Conqueror. Personally, I think he would also make a great Maegor the Cruel, probably better Maegor the Cruel, because he's way, way bigger in size than Aegon the Conqueror. But you also have the Highlander reboot movie that he's in the middle of making right now, the live-action Voltron movie, the Warhammer TV series and Warhammer movies that he's working on at Amazon. So it seems like right now he is actually booked up pretty solid for the next several years. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's too busy to actually work on something like a Conan franchise. Tell me, Conan, do you bleed? Because you will.
Evolution being what it is, pendulums swinging as they do, I believe a new cinema is coming.
He also probably has a banger pitch for more sequels too, because that's also what would get the studio excited. Like, oh yay, all this other IP that we can mine for like 10 more movies after this. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know what you want them to do with the Conan character just in general going forward if they do more sequels after this. What it sounds like is happening is they're planning for a 2028 release date, so they'll probably release more details later this year and next year. So I'll just do more videos as we get more footage, we learn more about the actual movie, because there is a bunch of big stuff coming up. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss anything. Everybody, click here for that first look at the Henry Cavill Highlander reboot movie, and click here for my brand new Lanterns trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.